Hi, Vytautas.
Hello, Peter.
VMware. Well, VMware kind of like comes from VM, so I've been always thinking about you guys as kind of like the virtualization platform. What's your touch with applications?
Yes. So VMware, yes, first we came from more infrastructure from virtualization, but of course, virtualization, hypervisors is software. So it means we are a software company, and as time goes and technologies evolve, we are also concentrating on the needs of market. So that's.
What do you mean under application modernization? What's that for VMware?
So, as VMware, application modernization for us is like taking any legacy application, monolithic, large, and improving it, updating it by changing platform on which it is running or adding additional functionality. Modernization for each person might mean different thing, but for us it is changing chunk of code, taking out functionality of monolithic application, just moving it to cloud native patterns.
But for VMware, does that mean your internal applications, which probably there is a ton of these for a company that large? Or do you kind of like, or do you think about as senior solution engineer, kind of like helping VMware users or possibly non-VMware users to modernize their applications?
Yes, so of course customers comes first. We are going this path. We are also modernizing our internal infrastructure, internal applications, but everything goes to customer first. So we have platform, we have tools to help customers to go through their journey.
What is the tool chest you're offering for application modernization? How can a company with a legacy COBOL monolith running for, I don't know, 60 years benefit from that?
Yes, so of course, when talking about application development, so probably everyone is now talking about cloud native initiatives and basically containerizing applications, running them as microservices on orchestration platforms like Kubernetes. So VMware has such runtime solutions. In addition, we have solutions which gives possibility to run all continuous integration, continuous delivery pipelines. And of course, when talking about application modernization, we have tooling which helps to analyze monolithic applications and provide, let's say, insights which functionality can be moved outside of monolithic envelope to cloud native patterns.
Is this actually the wish from your side to talk about application modernization also somehow related to, because thanks to, let's say, the things like Kubernetes, yes, the actual virtualization which is under that, which used to be your kind of like main business, is less important for us, because I really don't even know what's kind of like running under my Kubernetes. I think there is probably, I don't know.
Yes.
Or something.
Yeah, so when talking about Kubernetes or container orchestration platforms, they can run on any, let's say, any CPU architecture, on any infrastructure, either it is virtualized or bare metal. But as VMware, we never forgot where we started. And it has its own benefits. So there are a few patterns how application modernization can happen. So one of example is lift and shift. So you take legacy application which is running, for example, on 10 years old physical hardware. you virtualize that server, you prepare it to run on any cloud. Either it is hyperscaler or on-prem virtualized environment, or it can be hybrid mix between that. Lift and shift does not require any modification to the code, but there are other patterns. One of examples is replatforming, so-called. So when replatforming is targeting like individual, maybe smaller applications, which can be containerized. And containerized applications then can be run on cloud native runtimes. And containerized applications has their own benefits because it is not like single image, single point of failure. They can be aggregated into microservices and distributed across multiple clouds. And third pattern is like refactoring. So it is most time and resource consuming principle when chunks of code or slices are just functionalities moved out of monolithic application and containerized and provided as microservices.
And I probably understand correctly that actually your toolchain is usable irrelevant of if I want to end the modernization having it on-prem on whatever cloud providers or kind of mix of one or other, so you kind of like can manage all of the use cases.
Yes, so VMware last year's initiatives, I'm talking about like five maybe more years. We also initially, everything started as virtualization for enterprises, so everything is on-premise. But we cannot avoid globalization, we cannot avoid hyperscalers, and we are partnering with hyperscalers. We are providing VMware managed cloud solutions, which are running on hyperscalers. So from administrative perspective or business perspective, there is basically no difference what you see on your screen. Only difference is geographic segregation and where it's actually running. So we are concentrating a lot on multi-clouds, and all our solutions are enabling enterprises and our customers to benefit from lower costs of hyperscalers.
What do you see? How large the market currently is? What is the, because like all cool kids are doing everything on cloud already for probably at least several years. I don't know what is the age of cloud? 10 years? Probably less. Really, I should have prepared for that a bit more. But what do you think? What is currently the amount of applications which have not been modernized and which are like at least somewhat modernized? We are still having 80% to go. What's your gut feeling?
It very much depends on the sector, I would say. If we take startups, of course, they are operating on the CapEx delivery model. OpEx deliver model, so they are orientated to pay as you need. Mm-hmm. But enterprises, public sector probably are doing investments, so they are concentrating on infrastructure. Knowing the disadvantages of some on-premise infrastructure, of course, some enterprises and companies has strategies to move to the cloud. Startups, of course, developing everything from zero. So usually they are doing initially it is cloud native, so they do not need modernization. But if we take public sector, for example, e-health systems, which are running for 10, 20 years, internal revenue services, public sector services, financial institutions like core banking systems. Usually these, of course, they are maintained, developed, but they might have so-called monolithic pattern.
Mm-hmm. But just thinking about all of the backlog of things, then probably actually the kind of like market of bringing the old technology or applications into newer platforms is probably larger than developing new ones.
Well, of course,
if anybody's willing to invest in that, actually,
yes, of course, you have to foresee that the dedication from company management is needed, dedicated people is really needed, and of course, financing and resources are needed. So it costs a lot. Of course, it very much depends on which path you are going. We know a few years ago it was like all business. Everyone was shouting cloud first, but of course a lot of enterprises burned regarding that because it takes a lot of resources. So there are cloud smart approaches like choosing what you need, waiting, constant pros, and so on.
So we came basically to the question of risks of doing that, and as a solution engineer, probably you are the one to kind of like talk about exactly what are the risks and what might be the actual process in case of any specific application, how to actually in most effective way start modernizing that. So.
Yes, and we have guidelines like first of all, start small. Do not choose your core application, core business application. Choose something smaller. Evaluate if it is possible to modernize it. Is it worth? Because it has to be worth. Second one is keep it. Learn by doing. Don't be afraid to risk. Of course, you will need to train your people because the application will be running on new platforms, so knowledge of new platforms is needed. And of course, the famous telling is divide and conquer. So try to divide. Try not to move everything at once, but slice monolithic application into functionality.
So modernizing a monolithic application is a monolithic epic. Thank you.